poquito para sentarnos, para platicar. ¿Cómo estás, David? Bienvenido a Monterrey, Nuevo León.
Gracias.
Nos va a platicar.
¡Hola, México!
¡Hola!
Ustedes bien emocionadas y bien chifladas, ¿verdad? Luego. Ya las vi, vamos a hacernos esto más para adelante. Ponemos este aquí. Y yo creo, sí. Exactamente, para que te acuestes como un diván. Y creo que vamos a hacer esto un poquito más para adelante. Mira, todo cabe en un jarrito sabiéndolo acomodar. Bueno, vamos a leer un poquito de su biografía. Porque realmente David es, ahora sí que mundialmente conocido como el joven Bruce Wayne en la serie de Gotham. Personaje que interpreta desde 2014 y basado en el alter ego de Batman de DC Comics. David tiene 17 años, empezó su carrera como actor de comerciales. A los 8 años obtuvo su primer papel en la película Coming and Going, dirigida por Eduardo Ponti. También, poco tiempo después, le eligieron para la película de televisión de paga Amish Grace. Además de eso, le dieron un papel en el drama de Fox Touch, en donde actuó junto con esta Kiefer. Eso. Digo, las películas en diferentes películas. Recientemente completó la de Darkness, en donde actúa como el hijo de Rafael Mitchell y Kevin Bacon. También participó en Incarnate, en donde actuó como Aaron, quien es el exorcista que lucha contra el niño poseído por un demonio. ¡Un fuerte aplauso para David Mazouz! Ahora sí que eres... pues ahora sí que de las jóvenes promesas del cine mundial. ¿Cómo te sientes?
When you put it like that, it's a lot of pressure. Wait, what? Okay. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's great. It's great to know that. I don't know. I mean, I love working in this industry. I've been working since I was 7 or 8 for about 10 years now. And I've always loved it. I've always loved to perform for people. I've always loved to put on a show. And I'm so happy that it's led me here to Mexico.
Está muy feliz. Ha trabajado como unos 8, 10 años en la de la tele y que está muy feliz de estar aquí con ustedes.
En México.
Hasta ahorita, ¿cuántas películas o series llevas?
I don't know. I think probably about. I mean, you listed a lot of them. You can count. Probably about.
Vamos a contar, ¿no?
Probably about 5-ish movies, and then I've been a regular on two happen to be Fox, they're both Fox TV shows, and then guest stars here and there also. I was a guest star on The Office. Anybody watch The Office here? Yeah, it's great, right? The Office, Criminal Minds, Private Practice.
¿Es difícil dedicarse a la televisión siendo tan joven?
I mean, yes, there are hard parts about it, but the positives immensely outweigh the negatives. One of the hard things about Gotham was that at the age of 13, I just turned 13, I had to move away from home. I had to move away from all my friends, from my dogs, from my dad, from my sister, my house, my school, everything. I had to leave my home and move 3,000 miles away across the country to go to New York to film. And I was there for 9 months out of the year, and they didn't really let us go home. I couldn't really go home too much, and it was hard to find another community of people in New York where I could belong, because I wasn't really there. I wasn't going to school there. I was really just there for work. So, I mean, that's just one example. There are hard things, but obviously, it's all worked out. I love what I do. I wouldn't give it up for the world, and it's like I said, it's worth it by a million.
Tiene muchas cosas positivas y negativas estando en la tele, y pues una de las negativas dijo que fue de que tuvo que irse a Nueva York a estar en todo lo de la película y esto, y dejar a su familia y sus amigos, y ya estando en Nueva York fue difícil para él encontrar un nuevo grupo de amigos y de familia, y que le encanta hacer lo que hace y que lo positivo le gana lo negativo por mucho.
Cuéntanos de tus personajes. ¿En qué se parecen o en qué se diferencian de ti?
I would say there's a lot more differences than there are similarities. I would like to think that I'm determined like Bruce Wayne. I wouldn't say I'm as determined as him because, you know, that's some Batman level stuff right there. You can't quite get near there, but he really knows where his priorities lie, and he knows what he has to do to satisfy them. And I think that, or I hope that I have some of that in common with him. I would definitely list determination as one of my central tenets, one of the things that I'm proud to have. In terms of differences, I could go on and on. I mean, he is extraordinary. If anybody, I'm hoping you guys have seen the show. He's an amazing young man. He really is remarkable. He is, I mean, at the age of, you know, my age, at the age of 17, he's already out and fighting crime in the city, and helping the police do their job and taking down bad guys single-handedly, which obviously is a remarkable and unique thing to be able to do. And he wasn't like any other superhero in that he wasn't given any powers. He wasn't gifted by a higher power with special gifts to allow him to do that. The only special gift that he has is his willpower and his determination, and a lot of money too.
En la similitud que tiene con Bruce Wayne es su determinación, que pues si se propone algo sí lo llega a hacer, y diferencias que puede nombrar, muchas diferencias que tienen. Y
Son los superpoderes.
Dejamos que tú, bueno, tu personaje es el alter ego de Batman, pero ¿cuál es el alter ego de David? ¿Cuál es el alter ego de David? El alter ego. Ujú.
Yes.
Así es.
Like in general, or
En general, o sea, ¿cuál es tu alter ego? Lo que tú a lo mejor no harías, pero tienes un personaje y tu otro yo, por así decirlo.
oh, something that he would do that Bruce would not do. Okay. There's so many things. Like I said, I mean, I'm much more normal than Bruce is.
No es normal esta pregunta.
I'm like a regular kid. I slack off on my responsibilities all the time. That's something that Bruce would never do.
Bruce es un niño muy
Normal.
determinado, y que David es más relajado, y en cosas como las cosas que tiene que hacer, como que se relaja más, y a veces.
Ahora es momento de ustedes para que vayan formulando sus preguntas. Primeramente, levanta la mano quien quiera preguntar inmediatamente. Miren, eso me gusta, que todos desde... Con permiso, déjame bajar para irnos directamente con mis amigos. Déjame dejar esto aquí. Por favor, se ponen de pie, dicen su nombre y su película. Perdón, su pregunta. Adelante, amigo, ¿cuál es tu nombre?
David, ¿cuál es tu momento favorito en toda la serie?
¿Cuál es su momento favorito en toda la serie?
My favorite part in the whole series. Well, definitely one of my favorite scenes is the scene where Jerome kidnaps Bruce, and we have the fight, and I free myself. It's definitely a highlight for me.
Eso.
Cuando Jerome lo captura y tiene que pelear por su libertad, eso es una de los highlights de David.
My name is Fernando.
Hey.
For any single movie that you love, which role would you like to play?
In that movie,
In that movie, yeah.
Buena
Oh, that's
pregunta.
tough. Well, if I love the movie, then I wouldn't want to ruin it by putting myself in it. You know. I love The Matrix. I love Tropic Thunder. I would love to. I'd love to do a Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one other question. Would you like to play Batman in an Elseworld movie now that DC is branching out?
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it. Cast me. Let's call up Warner Brothers.
Okay, let's check out. Can you say, I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman?
I am vengeance. The night. I am Batman.
Aquí a ese lado. Hola, ¿qué tal, amiga? ¿Tu nombre y tu pregunta?
My name is Ashley. I'm around your age, so I have a question about it. If I want to start acting, but I don't find that much opportunities here, more stuff modeling, what should I do?
It's tricky. It's a tricky question. I don't really know. To be quite honest, I just don't really know what the entertainment scene is like here in Monterey. But I mean, the one piece of advice, not very specific, but the one piece of advice that I can give you is, in the entertainment industry as an actor, you're gonna get rejected a lot. It's just part of the process. Everybody goes through it. 99.999% of every audition or every tryout for an agent you'll ever go through, you're gonna get rejected, and that's just the way it is. It's because there's so many actors out there. And if you believe you can do it, then persistence, perseverance is key. You have to just get back up and not let it get to you. I've seen a lot of people who will go out on auditions and not get anything for 6 months, and they'll say, whatever, I'm just not, it's not working out. That's truth is, that's not uncommon, and it's I mean, every time you get knocked down, just stand back up again. Don't let it get to you.
Thank you so much. I have one last question. What's the scene you feel more like you sense all the feeling that Bruce had? I've seen that mark you somehow.
I've seen that. I might what?
I've seen can I
Oh, that marks me.
a scene of Bruce that marked you, like you can sense what he was feeling right in that moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, almost every scene, honestly. It's kind of a cheesy answer, but most scenes that I do, they do affect me, and they are kind of. I see them as I see every moment as a defining moment for Bruce. Just as not just Bruce, but as an actor, I feel like every moment has to be in your character and change him in some way. But specifically, I think the moment when he stabbed Alfred was, clearly it kind of brought him out of this trance that he was in for the last half season, and it was a really special moment and important moment in their relationship and also in Bruce's life.
Aquí tenemos a Alejandra, tu pregunta.
Why did you decide to be Bruce Wayne?
I went on an audition and they cast me as Bruce Wayne.
But why did you go to the audition? Why did you?
Well, why wouldn't I want to be Bruce Wayne? It's Bruce Wayne. What 12-year-old boy doesn't want to be Batman?
Hi again.
Hi.
¿Cómo te escogieron para ser Bruno Díaz? Bueno, Bruce Wayne.
Auditioning. I auditioned a lot of times, like 6 times, and eventually they chose me. Yeah.
Audicionó como unas 6 veces y pues eventualmente ya
Lo llamaron.
lo escogieron.
Filtro tras
Thank you.
filtro, tras filtro, tras filtro. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cuál es su nombre?
Hi, I am Maleni.
Hi.
What is your most challenge play Bruce Wayne?
Ooh.
¿Cuál fue tu mayor reto interpretar a Bruce Wayne? Interpretando a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. That's a tough question. There have been a lot of challenging moments, and I think I hate to repeat answers, but it is the same answer. I think one of the most challenging moments was the scene where I stabbed Alfred. Also, just because it was so important to his development and to the development of their relationship that I thought I really wanted to get it right. Also the moment when Bruce says to Alfred that he will not kill, and he makes that decision and he kind of makes that pact with himself and with Alfred. That was also a tough scene, just because of the same reason, just because there was a lot of pressure to get it right, because it was such an important moment in his life.
Acá mi amigo.
The moment you knew that you were gonna be Bruce Wayne, el momento que supiste que ibas a ser Bruce Wayne, how did you prepare? ¿Cómo te preparaste? By looking at the movies, the comics, películas, comics, because there's a lot of versions of adult Bruce Waynes when you were young Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's so many impressions, there's so many incarnations of Bruce Wayne over the past, 75 years, I guess, since the character was first born in 1939. And they're also different from each other. If you look at Detective Comics number 27, where Batman was first invented, it's so different than Adam West, which is so different than Christian Bale, which is so different than the animated series. So there were so many different ways to kind of create this character. And honestly, most of the preparation, and I did all that preparation. I studied all the comic books that I could get my hands on. I watched all the movies, I watched the animated series, I watched Adam West's TV show. But ultimately, it came down to the writers were my greatest influence, and the scripts were so clear in what they wanted, and also what I brought. Honestly, what I had brought to the audition was clearly what they were looking for, because I got hired, and so that a lot of it was kind of born off of that, which was that was just kind of born out of what was evident in the sides that they gave me, and the sides were fake sides. It was this kid in a therapist's office, and he's talking to a therapist, presumably, and his brother died. Obviously, it's supposed to kind of mirror Bruce Wayne's parents dying, and the therapist is saying, do you have any good memories with your brother? And so he goes into this story, so my character goes into the story about talking about how him and his brother and his family were camping in the woods, and him and his brother climbed a tree, and an eagle landed on the tree. And it was a really great scene. But just from the intensity of that scene, I really knew what they were going for. They were going for an intense, brooding, young Batman. So that's really where most of my kind of basis for who this character was going to be came from.
Que cuando estabas audicionando por eso, obviamente sí leyó los cómics y vio las películas y todo, pero al final en lo que se basó fue que un niño se le murió el hermano y fue con un terapeuta, y pues lo que llevó a la audición fue lo que estaban buscando, pues por eso lo agarraron a él.
Hola, soy Erwin. Primero, después de que fuiste casteado, ¿qué cosa pasó por tu mente? Porque Batman es un ícono, es yo creo la cara de DC Comics. Entonces, ¿cómo fue que dijiste, ahora ya tengo el trabajo, ahora cómo voy a soportar esa presión? Bueno, I'll say in English. Okay, after you get casted, and you said, oh crap, I got the job, I'm going to be Bruce Wayne, all the eyes of the world are going to be up on me because I'm going to be Bruce Wayne, and Batman is like the face of DC Comics. So what were your thoughts, what crossed your mind from the first time? So okay, I had all the pressure in me, and how do you feel that the show has a lot of success, has been a lot of success?
I didn't feel any of that pressure. I just didn't think about it. It's not that I put it out of my mind. It never even crossed my mind that there would be pressure. I was just beyond excited for that. I was excited. That's really it.
Nada más estaba emocionado, la verdad no lo pensó tanto. Lo único que estaba era emocionado.
Aquí tenemos otra pregunta, aquí tenemos a mi amigo.
Buenas tardes, antes que nada quiero felicitarte.
Aquí tenemos a mi amigo.
Mi nombre es Moisés, quiero felicitarte y darte las gracias por haber venido a México, darte el tiempo. Yo sé que es tu trabajo, pero aún así, qué bueno que viniste. Creo que tú lo estás viendo, más de uno, estamos felices de que estés aquí. Y pues bueno, wow, creo que felicidades por el gran trabajo que tienes. Y la única pregunta que te quiero hacer es la siguiente.
Pero te dije que le traduzca porque esta vez es toda una letanía. Que thank you very much, gracias, ¿no?
Thank you, gracias.
Ahora sí, tu pregunta.
Es
Your question.
algo sencillo. Creo que todos los fans que seguimos Gotham, bueno, en lo personal, yo que soy muy fanático de Batman, te queda muy bien el papel. Pero la pregunta básica es, ¿habrá sexta temporada o no?
Tan, 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 tan. Tan, 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 tan.
You never know. I don't think so, but you never know.
Nunca se sabe. No cree, pero nunca se sabe.
Esperemos que sí. Haces un gran trabajo. Te felicito. Es todo. Gracias.
Gracias.
Ya ven, hasta Toy Story va a renacer, pues porque no puede renacer. Hola, ¿qué tal, amigo? Tu nombre y tu pregunta.
Hola, me llamo Ramiro. I have two questions. Do you think that it's the right moment to end the series? Or you would like to continue telling the story of young Bruce Wayne?
I mean, of course, I would like to continue telling the story. Unfortunately, it's not really up to me. It's not really up to anybody who works on the show. It's the powers greater than us that kind of make those decisions. And I'm just really glad that we know it's our last season going into it, because we can make it the right time to finish telling the story. You know, we can end it the way it should be. It should be ended.
Está feliz y que pues, probablemente sea la última temporada, pero está feliz que ellos saben que ya va a ser la última y pueden terminarla bien en cómo va a terminar, y que no está en ellos si va a haber otra temporada o no.
Okay, my next question is, during the series, have you thought of some story arc, that you think it was risky, or any character that it was too risky for the moment that we're only seeing Bruce Wayne as a young guy? Because I have seen some characters that I think they are too far. ¿Cómo puedo decir? Son personajes que.
Too far away from who they are in the comics?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you are entitled to your opinion. I think that a show like Gotham has to do those kinds of things. They have to take those kinds of risks. Obviously, I'm not involved in that. It's the writers. But I think it's wise, because some of them are going to stick and some of them aren't. And for the ones that do, that's what our show could be adding to the legend of Batman. That's 80 years in the making. That people 10 years down the line who make another show, maybe another Gotham, will be able to draw from. You know, just like the animated series created Harley Quinn. Maybe people, I don't know, but maybe people back then in the 90s said, no, Joker shouldn't have a girlfriend, he's supposed to be a loner. But look, I mean, Harley Quinn's one of the most popular DC characters now. If you don't take risks, then you're never gonna gain. If you just follow in the path that's already been laid out, then you're never gonna be adding to the story, you're never gonna be surprising people. Which ultimately, as entertainers, as entertainment, that comic books, movies, TV show, all of it is entertainment. That's what it's supposed to do. And if, like you said, if you don't take risks, then you're not doing it.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, amiga. Por favor, de pie. Perdón, la respuesta.
Pues que si no toman riesgos, los escritores tuvieron que tomar riesgos en cómo van a ser los personajes, y dijo que como el Joker se supone que iba a estar solo y que no iba a tener nadie y pues iba a ser el Joker. Al final le agregaron una novia que fue terminando ser Harley Quinn y que ahorita es una de las de los de DC muy famosos.
¿Tu nombre, amiga?
Hola, mi nombre es Cassandra. ¿Cuál ha sido el suceso más impactante que le ha ocurrido durante las grabaciones de la serie?
Like the most important moments in the series?
Yes.
For my character, for Bruce, or for the series in general?
You.
I mean, I think I kind of touched upon them before. For me personally, I think that I feel like there's one every season. I think in the first season, Bruce's defining moment for that season that really changed him was going to Tommy Elliott's house and with Alfred and beating him up. Season 2, it was meeting his parents' killer, Matches Malone, and confronting him and not killing him. Season 3, it was making the vow to never kill again. And then also another one in season 3 when he killed Alfred. I think that was another defining moment. In season 4, what was season 4? Season 4, there were a lot. I would say there's too many to talk about. But I would say there's multiple kind of spread out throughout the show. And there's a huge one coming up in season 5 that I want to talk about.
Hay muchas durante todas las series y en la primera dice que de que le pegó a Alfred y tuvieron una pelea muy grande. En la segunda, cuando conoció al quien mató a sus padres, y en la tercera, cuando le entierra el cuchillo a Alfred y lo mata, y que en la cuarta hay muchas de las cuales ahorita no puedo hablar, y que en la quinta viene una muy mala.
¿Y la hora sexta?
Hi, my name is Aida, and I want to know if you knew about who was gonna be the killer of your parents, like in the first season, or before they broke down the scene with the script and everything. You knew who was gonna kill them? You didn't know?
No. I had no idea.
La pregunta fue la respuesta.